We're at the National Arts Centre in Ottawa for the English language federal election debate.
In terms of provinces, we've been very clear.
Mr. Harper, Ms. May.
Let me just be clear about how we're...
Mr. Harper.
I think I've been very clear about the tough...
Mr. Harper.
Yeah, if I could just be clear on how that's a social concern. Can I just say one other thing, Steve? I think we need to be very clear.
In their families.
Stephen Harper.
Yeah, if I can just be clear about the Liberal plan.
Mr. Harper, then Ms. May.
Can I be clear what we've done?
Slides. Look, a quick response here, then we'll go.
This is why I asked Mr. Harper twice tonight, and I'll do it for the third time. I'm asking you for the third time.
Okay,
well, Mr. Harper, then
I made it very clear, that question, but let's be clear about...
No, I want to hear it.
Let's be clear about Afghanistan.
So you made an error at that time?
It's obviously clear.
I have to let him respond to that? Mr. Harper?
Let me be clear. We made it clear we'll bring in tougher benefits in this country. So let's be clear. Let's be clear about that.
Let's be clear. Buying buses made in Winnipeg instead of buying buses for the military from the other side of the ocean.
Let's let him finish the answer. Mr. Harper, response, Mr. Harper, and then we'll get Ms. May.
Let's be clear about what the situation is. We have no
chance for Mr. Harper to respond.
Let's be clear about what we are doing about some of these problems.
Mr. Harper.
Let's be clear once again.
What's the answer to that?
Well, I guess the question is, I guess I would turn it around. If we never leave, will the job ever get done?
You know what's ironic about what Mr. Harper just said? She'll tell you.
A cheap shot. You just accused me of wanting to destroy the healthcare system in this country.
Hang on, let him finish. Let him finish.
Our party has been committed strongly to a system of universal public health insurance in the country.
Guess who was urging them to privatize the healthcare system? You led a citizens group that had that as one of its main objectives.
What Canadians are worried about right now is not the job situation, not losing their home like in the U.S. What they're worried about is they see the stock market problems. Some of the financial
400,000 people have lost their jobs.
And what the opposition proposes...
How can you say nobody's worried about job loss?
Gentlemen, I have to manage the time here. Mr. Duceppe, please.
I think we have to realize...
Hang on, just to follow up here.
The only additional idea is...
Follow up, please. Follow up. Are your policies working? Are your policies working?
Look, I would say that, you know, I know why you did that, because you look at your platform.
You say you've got a plan. Where is it? Where's your platform? Under the sweater?
Now, what we've tried to do, I would challenge any voter to take a look at our platform, take a look at our actions.
Where is it?
We have.
You haven't presented one in this election. I find that shocking. I can't remember in history when that's happened.
We have literally, forgive me for jumping in here, we have literally a minute left in this segment on the economy, and I got to do this. Deficits. Everybody here has pledged never to go into deficit. If this economy starts to go further south, is there anybody here who will really swear that we will never go into deficit? Mr. Harper?
I believe there's every reason we can stay in surplus. I believe we have to keep this economy, we have to keep our budget in surplus, and we have to keep taxes down on items that we cannot afford.
Do I infer from that, one second, do I infer from that you will never raise taxes?
I will not raise taxes.
Ever?
I will not raise taxes.
Yes, I heard you saying that we had a good fight. I think the Harper's government is not having
Okay, let's no way for a prime minister to behave.
Next question coming from Markham, Ontario. It's about crime. Let's watch.
Good evening. Every day I watch the news and I see the terrible increase in the rate of violent crime. What do your respective parties plan to do about this terrible situation?
Terrible violent crimes that are committed and sentences that are just not sufficient, and terrible violent criminals' jobs. It's a terrible thing when a family loses jobs. It creates terrible uncertainty. Senator Obama is committed to increase. Senator Obama has committed to increase American commitment to Afghanistan.
I didn't say that, but what I said is that
but you're against the mission in Afghanistan. You're against the mission in Afghanistan.
Prime Minister,
but on Afghanistan, let's remember, Afghanistan is
an end date. I want my Canada back. Canadians want their Canada back. A Canada that we may trust in the world. Canada speaking for the cause of justice in the world. Not a Canada always following the views of George Bush.
Okay,
because you know what? Canadians care about their savings. They care about their mortgages. They care about their pension. I know very well how much Canadians care and are concerned about their savings, their mortgages, and their pensions. We need to take care of your savings, of your mortgage, of your pension.
Much of the reaction to his government's decision to cut the arts has resulted in a real pile-on from the other four of you. And I want to know whether you think conservatives are barbarians.
You didn't say these programs were poorly managed. You said we don't like these artists. They are not enough mainstream to our taste.
And I don't think they're barbarians. I don't think Mr. Harper personally hates the arts, nor do I think he personally supports the arts.
Jack Layton.
Well, we need some action.
Thank you, Mr. Layton. Gilles Duceppe. Do you think he hates the arts?
I'm saying it does.
Layton.
Well, the arts is very important to Olivia and I. She's a sculptor. I'm not particularly talented. And you've supported Mr. Harper 43 times. I mean, you've got a heck of a record there, Mr. Dion, to try and... No wonder we see the cynicism from people out there. And then we have Mr. Harper coming along.
Mr. Layton, you wanted to come in.
I find what you're saying, Mr. Harper, to be quite incredulous. Maybe you're hoping that Canadians forget history and the heartless remarks that were made by you. And take some responsibility here and don't try to paper over what's happening in people's lives.
Look, a quick response here.
Mr. Bush, he's on the way out. We think that your idea should be on the way out too. And
Is that all his fault? Let's clarify.
Look, it goes back. I won't deny it. But I'm saying that all of us around this table have got to start to do better.
I think it's a mission as balanced as it can be, given the conditions we're in Canada.
Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mr. Harper, I don't think at the bottom line you can be trusted on this. I think your views on these matters go back a long way. And they derive from the philosophy emerging from the Bush White House, a philosophy which hopefully will be replaced soon. Now, either you don't care or you're incompetent. Which is it?
Well, he deserves a chance to respond to that before I get to you, Mr. Duceppe. Go ahead. Mr. Layton, you get the last word here.
Well, of course, Mr. Harper, you have no program platform this time. You haven't told Canadians what you're going to do. The sweater is nice, but they'd like to know what your plans are. I have two views on two comments to make about the approach of conservatives. First, they talk about freedom as though it's one of those values. But Mr. Harper, when it comes down to it, you're trying to censor and limit the freedom of expression in this country, particularly of those who criticize.
How's he trying to do that?
Well, just look at, I think, Mr. Harper, what we're seeing is a cold and callous side here. We shouldn't be shipping raw logs off to other countries. I can't think of anything they make with wood. You've got an opportunity in this election with the new Democratic Party and with Jack Layton as your Prime Minister.
I want to be Prime Minister of this country because I know that the challenge of the 21st century is nothing less than to reconcile mankind and the planet. And Canada has a role to play for that. It will not play with Mr. Harper.
Under Jack Layton.
Gilles Duceppe.
Well, I know I want to be Prime Minister, and three of you won't be Prime Minister neither. Some of you know it, but you don't say it.
Okay, Monsieur Duceppe. We now go to the open discussion period. Roll tape, please.
Good evening. I'm a retiree building my shed in the backyard here, and I have a question for all you potential prime ministers. And I don't want any bull feathers, baffles brains answer. I just want the real issue that you're going to tackle.
Okay, no bull feathers, no baffle brains answers. Just the real deal here. Jack Layton, first priority once you get into office.
The first thing we'll do is replace Mr. Harper's reckless
Elizabeth May.
Well, first of all, Dennis, I'm really tempted to say that I'd like to do the first thing is come help you finish building the shed. But I think as a woman, many from Islamic backgrounds, and turned those poppies into medicinal drugs for developing countries. Okay. When he was taking the statements from young offenders, he found quite often he had to write them out for them.
Here, Elizabeth May, please.
I'm a former lawyer who's become a politician, and I somehow wonder if I've dropped down to a level where I'm just slightly above the paparazzi in terms of public esteem. It's because of acting when you win an election as if you've just won the lotto and everyone else just lost, and all the people who voted for you no longer matter anymore. Because you decide that if a law is something you don't like, or a contract something you don't like, you just sweep it across the table, don't you? You just decide it doesn't matter because your word is law. Maybe the rich people who had enough investment that they're panicked, and they don't have to be very rich to have investments. I'm not saying that anyone who's worried right now is in a category of being out of touch, but you're out of touch.
Good things that Canada's doing.
The only thing that you actually said that's true is the work on national parks. Well done. Everything else is a fraud.
And that's the and you learned how to say that in French last night.
I did. Fraud. Yeah. Fraud.
Okay, let's go.
Trying to give them.
That's our time. And you know what? This was way better than Biden and Palin. I'm sure of it. I'm absolutely sure of it. Thanks to the party leaders for participating tonight. Thanks to all of you for watching tonight. We hope you'll consider what you heard and then get out to vote.